bureaucratic regime that we labor under nowadays is highly centralized and disgustingly politicized. Businesses, large and small, across the nation are faced with an administrative infrastructure that heaps over 80,000 pages of new regulations in 1 year atop the massive pre-existing pile. How could anyone label such a federal behemoth as highly decentralized, and do so with a straight face? When the federal government issues a regulation on the amount of raisins in any baked good which claims to contain them, and enforces that rule on a single local bakery, how can any honest person dare accuse that federal body of being decentralized? And countless other examples of this absurdity exist. This one happens to be my favorite for obvious reasons. Think about it. The federal government telling one local bakery how many raisins it must have in whatever baked good that they make, which claims to contain raisins. It's completely absurd. The federal government regulates the height of the grass on miniature golf courses. No, I'm not kidding. That's in the Code of Federal Regulations as well, along with myriad other absurd regulations that have zero business being done from the federal level. And need we even venture into the partly politicized claim, given the dozens of examples we can point to of would-be whistleblowers who have been intimidated and or forced out of their jobs by department heads in various bureaucratic agencies? The Departments of State, Justice, and GSA spring immediately to mind, leaving to the realm of speculation how many hundreds of other low-level functionaries there might be whose tales we will never hear because they have been effectively silenced. But perhaps even worse than Heather's nonsensical mantra regarding centralization and politics within the myriad layers of bureaucracy is one she repeats with equal frequency and gusto. Exploring the depths of the errors contained in this statement, well, it would take up the rest of this show, at least, and probably well into next week's show as well. So I will trust you, the listener, to ruminate on this point accordingly. Heather Gerken gives away her entire ulterior motive in these 6 seemingly benign words. Quote, "What a democracy owes its minorities." End quote. Let me repeat that. What a democracy owes its minorities. Once again, her claim is that the word minorities includes both racial and political, but one quickly gets the sense that this is mere lip service. Regardless, the point must be reiterated that America is not and never has been a democracy. Furthermore, neither political and racial minorities nor any other American citizen is owed anything under our Constitution, save that their rights not be violated. Period. In the event of such a violation, it is the duty of law enforcement or the governmental body charged with doing so to pursue justice on their behalf, and that is the extent to anything owed to anyone in our country. People like Ms. Gerken would do well to remember this and be reminded of it often, even in the halls of academia. So to close out the context portion of federalism, I will address the main unspoken question burning in your mind since about, 20 minutes ago or so. Why should I care about this, Bradley? What does it have to do with me? Well, you should care a great deal if you seek to restore our first principles, which, after all, is the only way to restore our prosperity, our uniquely American culture, and our moral standing in the world. You see, Miss Gerken has been widely acclaimed as a rising star in the legal academy. In fact, just this year, or last year, 2012. Oh my God, 2013! Yes, it's 2013 now. Last year, she was the guest lecturer at Duke University for a very prestigious lecture series that has been conducted at that school for over half a century. It is a lecture series that is in memorial to a professor from Duke University by the name of Brainerd Curry. And you can find the video easily enough on YouTube, should you choose, but I will caution you, it is a mind-numbing hour. I have watched it myself 7 times. It is absolutely mind-blowing. But anyway. So now I can hear the follow-up question, perhaps only half-formed in your mind at this point, but Bradley, she's giving a progressive speech to a progressive crowd of law students. How does that affect me? Well, it's much worse than that, and this is the insidious nature of progressivism that I harp on constantly. That was a pause for effect, and also to wet my whistle once again. Anyway, the insidious nature of progressivism that I harp on constantly on this show and elsewhere, language twisting. Simply by attaching the word federalism to her theory, Ms. Gherkin has piqued the interest of many in conservative circles as well. She's been invited to speak at Federalist Society chapters. She's been a guest speaker at other colleges at the request of right-leaning professors. Heather Gherkin has also been written about at length twice just in 2012 on the blog Volok Conspiracy, which is a pretty heavily trafficked conservative blog. They wrote about her twice just in 2012 and wrote about her pretty favorably and actually complimented her theory of progressive federalism. Make no mistake, folks, progressives excel at infiltrating our ranks, gaining stature and clout, and twisting the language to suit their ends, all while convincing many on our side that their goals are noble and, if not overlapping ours, at least run parallel. We must learn to recognize this at the outset, call it out, and educate others on how to spot it and weed it out as well. We cannot allow our first principles and actual federalism to be further bastardized, much less with our tacit acceptance or explicit aid. As for what actual federalism is, I'll discuss that a little bit more and in greater detail on the other side of the ad block here, if I can find my bumpers. Okay, here we go. Hopefully these bumpers will be a little bit more timely and suited for the conservative broadcast media here on Spreaker, rather than the old network, which shall remain unnamed. So, be back in just a couple of short minutes here. You're listening to the Sons of Liberty show on conservative broadcast media, proudly hosted by Spreaker, and we'll be back to discuss what federalism actually is now that we've laid down the context on the other side. Stay tuned.
The Sons of Liberty show isn't here right now. Leave a message.
let's see, for they will believe, will
Feeling lonely this holiday season?
Looking for little human interaction?
Do you want to feel contact in certain special places?
Then why not go through security at an airport?
The TSA.
TSA agents are ready and standing by to give you a little something extra to feel thankful about this holiday season.
The TSA.
What are you waiting for? I want to check under your testicles.
Spending time with a TSA agent couldn't be easier. Simply book a flight departing from any American airport. When selected for a full body scanner, say no. You'll be pulled aside by a TSA agent, and that's when the fun begins. And you never know who your agent will be.
It could be me. Or me.
Or even me.
But it's probably gonna be us. Take off your damn shoes.
The TSA. It's our business to touch yours.
Welcome to the Bureau of Womanhood Conformity. Independent thoughts are considered subversive because all must agree with our leader.
When it comes to women, preventative care should include coverage of contraceptive services such as birth control.
You see, if you don't believe government should pay for your birth control, you're not a real woman. Womanhood denied. If you refuse to accept that pregnancy is a punishment, you're denied as well.
I don't want them punished with a baby.
If you don't believe that abortions should be allowed for any reason, if you don't believe in aborting a child for being the wrong gender, and if you don't believe that stay-at-home mothers aren't real workers, you are not a real conformed woman.
His wife has actually never worked a day in her life. His wife has actually never worked a day in her life.
Finally, for your safety, if you oppose mandatory government health care, you will die.
They will be voting to say that women can die on the floor.
These standards and regulations were formed after our glorious victory in the war on women. Thank you for your cooperation and your conformity.
You're listening to the Sons of Liberty show on the CB Media Network.
Like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
All right then. Welcome back to the Sons of Liberty show here on Conservative Broadcast Media, January 12th, 2013, and we are in the midst of exploring what federalism actually is. And sorry, I was getting a bit distracted by the Twitters there. Anywho, so continuing on then, we've laid out the context of federalism and what the left is trying to do in co-opting federalism with Heather Gerken and her ilk and the progressive federalism